Rubin Amorim secured his first Premier League win as Manchester United manager, and although a scoreline of 4-0 was very flattering, we did have some very positive moments, with Rashford and Xerxes scoring 2 goals apiece, and Bruno and Ahmad getting 2 assists apiece. What did we learn today and what did we see? Stick around and find out. We're going to talk about the game, dissect and discuss, and talk about the possible pitfalls that await us around the corner. He's focused on the system. Is it working? Are we getting better and improving our playing style? And are we playing more within his system and how he wants us to play? Yesterday's 4-0 win against Everton was an interesting one for me. I was watching intently, trying to figure out if we're going to continue to evolve and become more like that Sporting team that I was watching play the last couple of months before Rubin Amorim joined us. What's up, YouTube? Thank you very much for clicking on the thumbnail. Thank you for joining me once again. We're going to break down the game against Everton. We're going to talk a little bit about transfer rumors that we're hearing towards the end of the show, and we will start to prepare for Arsenal and talk about some things that we're going to see coming up. Thanks again for joining me. Hit the like button if you like what I do, and let's get right into it. So, when I said I was watching to see if we're becoming more like the Sporting team that I saw Rubin Amorim coached in the last couple of months, I wanted to see if our center backs were going to actually progress the ball and carry the ball forward whenever space presented itself. And we did see a little bit of that. Mazraoui's always been doing that. He's been amazing at the decisions he makes. And Licha Martinez was doing that also on the other side a little bit, and it was okay. Now, for the most part, we held on to the ball too long. We're going to talk about that too a little bit later, but for the most part, we started seeing the center backs kind of progress and carry the ball forward. Not that often, not often enough. We're going to be doing more of that as the team continues to evolve, but that was something that started to happen. Now, the other thing I was looking for was I wanted to see if the inside 10s are also carrying and progressing and dribbling the ball into the opponent's box. That's something that Sporting did a lot of. The inside 10s, whenever they can open up a little gap, would play a bounce pass maybe off the striker, and if that wasn't available, they would dribble into the box before looking for other options or even taking a shot. That didn't happen. I didn't see that happen almost at all until Garnacho came in the game, who's actually really good at carrying the ball into the box. But the problem with Garnacho is he always takes 1 or 2 touches too many, or his final pass is just not on, or it's not good enough. And that's totally understandable. He's young, and I'm here for him, and I'm rooting for him. I'm not here bashing on Garnacho, but that was at least something that Amorim does want to see. That's why he likes Garnacho. Garnacho likes to pick up the ball in open spaces, and then he likes to progress and carry the ball into the box. That is not an easy skill to have, and that's something that Amorim, I'm sure, really appreciate. That's actually the hard part of the job. The easy part of the job is then making a pass that doesn't get intercepted, and that's something Garnacho has to work on. The easy part of the job is not taking 1 too many touches. That's something Garnacho has to work on. He has to work on that when he's doing those dribbles and carrying the ball, that he's also aware where his teammates are, where the space is, and where the passing lanes are, and he takes advantage of those passing lanes before those gaps close. That's something he's going to work on. That's something Amorim's going to help him get better at. And he's going to get better because, like I said, that's the easy part. The hard part is to have the confidence to dribble against a defender and just have the guts to go ahead and take it in the box. Now, also, you have to know when you're beat by a better defender than you, and you don't just dribble into a wall. You also have to know when it's a good time to play a wall pass with somebody else or a 1-2 with somebody else instead of dribbling. Those are little things that this young player will learn and get better at, because I think these coaches are doing an amazing job talking to these players. These coaches are freaking amazing. So since they've joined our squad, I'm going off on a rant here. This is not in my outline or my notes, but it's okay. That's why we're here. We're here to just have a discussion. And if I plan on going this way and I take a detour to get there, that's what we're going to do. So these coaches, since joining our squad, have been undefeated. I think, Rubin Amorim's undefeated since joining our squad. Now, before they joined our squad, and I'm not just going to give the credit to Rubin Amorim because he doesn't do that either. He gives the credit to all his coaches. And before they joined our squad, Sporting had won every single game they've played. Ever since they've joined our squad, we're undefeated, and Sporting has lost 2. And I believe that's 2 out of 3, which is pretty bad. So these coaches are definitely really, really good coaches and really valuable, because that Sporting team is the same team and they can't seem to keep that winning streak going. They've lost a couple of games. And our team is the same team and we're undefeated. Now, hopefully we remain undefeated after the Arsenal game that's coming up. You're probably watching this on Tuesday or Wednesday morning before the Arsenal game, hopefully. And or if you watch this after the Arsenal game, just know that I don't know what the results are of that game. This is Monday night when I'm recording this. So hopefully that we are still undefeated after that game. Anyway, let me get back on track and back on my outline. So I'm looking to see our inside forwards dribble into the box more. That's not really happening except for with Garnacho, as we said. But what we did see is the overloads on the ball side. We did see more of that, and we didn't see that so much in the past 2 games with Rubin. So what we saw here was, especially on the left side, the Bruno Fernandes and the low side, whenever the ball was on that side or going towards that side, you would see Bruno Fernandes move all the way out to the sideline, which would free up the low to either cut inside or go in behind for a pass. And actually early on in the game, I think it was Licha who sent him through, and then the low unfortunately hit a pretty bad cross as far as I'm concerned. Or maybe there wasn't a runner there. I'm trying to remember exactly what happened, but it didn't end really well. But the point is the play was run correctly. It was run the same way I've seen it run in Sporting whenever we do overloads. And on the other side, the overload was actually with Mainu, not with Rashford. They left Rashford inside and they had Mainu go outside, but nothing was ever created doing that process, except for the fact that it dragged the opposition to that side, and it opened up a switch to Delo again from Mazraoui this time, all the way, who was left alone, and he had a lot of space to get that ball. So you're starting to see the evolution. You're starting to see these things, and if I'm not describing it quite right, let me know in the comments, and I will do a better job describing it. But I'm trying to keep this video moving, and I'm also really simplifying everything I describe here. So overloads on the ball side to either switch to Delo, or overloads to free up the wing back to cut inside or get in behind. That's really what we're talking about. Now, where we need to work is basically in our ball possession in order to build attacks. Let me explain, because that's not a great way to phrase that. What Sporting was really, really good at, and that we are not good at all, is Sporting was able to string together more than 10 passes that led to a shot. Actually, I read somewhere that there's a stat that says that they did that 125 times. So imagine that, which is the most in the Portuguese league. And I believe probably maybe the most in all of Europe, if you think about it, because that's a big number. Now, that I made up. I didn't read that anywhere. I don't know if it's the most in Europe. I do know, because the article was about the Portuguese league, I do know it was the most in the Portuguese league. So imagine a team making 10 or more passes that lead to a shot. And Sporting did that 125 times in one season. That is a lot. We can't even string together 10 or more passes that go forward. If we string together 10 or more passes, they're usually sideways 10 times, and then a long ball that ends up being the opponent's ball. So we are not good at that. Now, why aren't we good at that? Because we still don't understand our rotations. We still don't understand our movements. We swing the ball, we pass the ball back and forth a little bit too slow. We move the ball too slow, and even the movement in our rotations is too slow. And I see that, like, when we gave the ball away in the first half, I think it was like the 17th or 20, like somewhere between the 17th and the 25th minute. There was a moment where Rubin Amorim got a little bit frustrated. And then if you look down on the sideline in the broadcast that I saw, you can start seeing 5 or 6 Manchester United players start to warm up. I think it was Højlund, Mount, I don't know. But there was a lot of Manchester United players warming up. And you could tell that, like, this manager is not afraid to make a change at halftime. So if this was about the 17th to the 25th minute, somewhere in there, when we were playing bad, that he was getting them warmed up because at halftime he was going to pull a player or two and switch them out, which is what he did in the game previous when Malacia just could not keep up with the plays. Malacia, who I don't think is fit enough to play in high-intensity games right now, he got pulled at halftime. And that's okay. That ruthlessness is okay. And I don't think the players are going to hate him for it if he pulls them out. He's going to have to sit down with them, and the coaches are going to have to sit down with them, make them watch video, make them understand, hey, I pulled you out because this and this and this is not good, and you're going to need to get that better. That's totally okay. We're going to back the manager, and we're going to look. He said in one of his interviews that he's going to use every single player. Every single player is vital to this system working, because this system requires a lot of running, how many times has he said our physical ability needs to go up? Like, our physicality needs to go up. He means our pace, our strength, our stamina needs to go up, and he's going to make a lot of he's made 5 substitutions, I believe, every single game he's coached so far. So, and he makes them early. It's not like he makes a substitution in the 91st minute to waste time to get the whistle. I mean, he makes 3 substitutions before the 65th minute, I believe, in every single game he's managed for us so far. He's made 3 substitutions before the 65th minute. He makes his 4th and 5th before the 85th minute or 81st minute. So he takes players out for fitness reasons. He takes players out for lack of playing well. I just love the way he's managing. If you agree with me, leave a comment down below. If I messed something up there and you notice something that I tweaked or didn't get right, leave that comment down below, guys. Like I make mistakes. I make mistakes, but that's what I'm seeing. And if I made a mistake once or twice, but I was right 90% or 80% of the time, give me the benefit of the doubt, guys. I'm trying my best here. I don't sit down and get paid to analyze every single second and every single move the man does, but this is what I'm noticing. This is my gut feeling. This is what I believe is happening in this team, and I am super excited about it. I hope you can feel my energy there. I hope you guys are super excited about it. Again, no matter what happens in this Arsenal game, the manager told us, actually, this brings me to my next point. Now, I am glad that Xerxes and Rashford got 2 goals, but I think the player of the game was Ahmad. Ahmad was the player of the game. Starting to get a little nickname on X and in some YouTube videos. They're calling him Ahmadinho, which I thought was pretty cool because Ronaldinho is one of my favorite players of all time. I grew up on Ronaldinho. I grew up on R9 and Ronaldinho. They were my 2 favorite players of all time. And I actually, you guys know, if you've been following me, you've been watching my videos, you know I mess around a little bit with AI images, and I was trying my best to get an AI image of like a molded Ronaldinho / Ahmad to put on the thumbnail of this video. Now, obviously, if you clicked on the thumbnail, you know that's not what happened. I used a different image for the thumbnail, and here's why. I tried 2 different ways to do this thing, and both times it doesn't look like Ahmad or Ronaldinho, and I'm going to show them to you anyway. So maybe you'll get a kick out of it like I did. The first way was this. This is the first one right here. It just looks weird. It looks a little weird. And then the second one was even worse. Here it is. And that's just not acceptable. I couldn't use that as a thumbnail. I was like, what the hell is this? I gave up, and then I made a different thumbnail. But Ahmad was amazing, man. He is really, really growing into that right wing back role. I love everything he's doing. I love the decisions he makes. I love how he slowed down on that assist to Xerxes, how he slowed down the play and took his touches in the right pace, in the right way to make sure Xerxes is going to get in the right location and committed the defender, made the defender have to commit to him, because if the defender went to Xerxes, then Ahmad would have had a clear shot. He committed the defender, waited for everything for the right time, and made the pass with the perfect weight. All Xerxes had to do was roll it into the far corner. Guys, that is good football. That is amazingly well. That's like Mazraoui, good football, knowing when to touch the ball, how to touch the ball, at what pace to move the ball, and then when to make the pass, and at what pace to make that pass, or at what weight to make that pass. That is good football. We need technically savvy players like this. And Rubin himself, commenting on Mazraoui, said, Mazraoui's the future, and we need more players like Mazraoui. And I hope that's what we're going to recruit. I hope in the transfer windows we're getting an inside 10 that has that kind of playing ability, that kind of football IQ. I hope we get a box-to-box midfielder who has that kind of playing ability, that kind of high IQ. I hope we get a left wing back that, again, has that kind of playing ability, and a left-sided center back that has that kind of playing ability, because we are still lacking in all those positions, and we probably need more than that, but those are like we obviously need those positions. We obviously need those positions, and then we need 1 or 2 more to fill in some gaps or to be backups. But here is what I'm getting at. Even though Rashford had his 2 goals, even though Xerxes had his 2 goals, this is what Rubin Amorim had to say about Rashford in the press conference after the match when he was asked about Rashford.
He has so much to improve, so much to do, and he can do so much better. So let's focus on the performance, not just the results or the goals. We all have to improve, but congratulations to the players. Great job.
He said, let's not focus on the results. Let's focus on the performance. He said, basically, let's not worry about if he scored 1 goal, 3 goals, or no goals. Let's focus on how did he play. Was he improving? Did he run to the right spots? Did he give his heart and soul? Blah, 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 blah. I think that was him sending a message to us, not only to Rashford, but to all the players, that scoring 1, 2, 3 goals isn't everything. How, are you adapting? Are you learning how to play your role in this system of his? Are you making the right decisions? Are you passing the ball at the right time, making the runs at the right time? Are you helping the team play the proper way that he wants you to play? So great job scoring 2 goals, obviously, but are you actually improving within this system? Here's the thing. If you look at all the goals, we scored 4 goals. One of them, set piece, corner. Beautiful set piece, loved it, but not exactly something that is like system dependent, if you will. 2 of them, Ahmad pressing, taking the ball, and 1 or 2 passes later, we score a goal. Again, not exactly system dependent. It's a good press. It's good hard work. They're good goals. I want these kind of goals. We have to score these kind of goals. Not every goal has to be like a system dependent goal. They're good goals. Set piece goals are good goals. So this isn't me saying, oh, these goals don't count. This is just telling you that he isn't just focused on the goals, right? He's focused on the system. Is it working? Are we getting better and improving our playing style? And are we playing more within his system and how he wants us to play? Are the players rotating the way they're supposed to rotate? Is the ball moving the way it's supposed to move? To be honest with you, no. Yes and no. They're getting better at it, but they're still pretty bad at it. That's not the right way to say it. It's not fair for me to say it that way, especially after a 4-0 win. We are seeing the evolution. I am happy. This isn't me upset and saying they suck or whatever. This is me just letting you know that we still have a long way to go. We still have a long way to go. And just like I mentioned before, Sporting was able to spring together 10 plus passes and create chances a lot of times. They knew how to pass backwards from the forward line, go all the way back through the lines, back to the goalkeeper, stretch the opposing team. Whoops, I almost knocked over the mic there. Stretch the opposition team and then start working back through the lines and create a chance. We don't know how to do that yet. That is what he's talking about. And why do we not know how to do that? I'm not saying it's Rashford's fault, but he's a part of the system. He's a part of the moving parts that have to move in the proper way. I would tell you that out of all 4 goals, there was 1 goal that was a Rubin Amorim system goal, and that was when Ahmad hit Rashford on the diagonal, and then Rashford took a one-time shot. That goal, was that the 4th goal? That could have been the 4th goal or the 3rd goal. That goal was a Rubin Amorim system goal. Okay, that's when Ahmad had the ball at the wingback position. Rashford makes the diagonal run between the 2 defenders, and Ahmad hits him, and Rashford one-times it into goal. That one was a system goal. The game prior to that, when Mount hit a one-touch pass and sprung Ugarte through, who crossed it, cutback cross to Rasmus, and Rasmus had a one-time shot. That was a system goal. That's what he's talking about. Are we progressing? Are we making those kind of plays more often? So far, we've done it once per game for the last 2 games that I can think of. And that's okay. That's okay. Now we have to see if we can progress and get better. Again, not complaining, just letting you know what I think, what my gut is telling me that he's looking for, what he's judging their performances based on. He's not judging them based on they made a set piece goal and Ahmad made two good press tackles and created chances. Those are great. We'll take them, but he's looking for the performances. He's looking for the system at work. He's looking to see if the rotations are working. He's looking to see if people are making better decisions. Basically, he's hopefully more people start playing like Mazraoui's playing and Ahmad's playing, right? That's really what we're saying. We need more intelligence. Mainu struggled. I'm not going to lie. It looked to me like Mainu struggled a little bit. He didn't have a horrible game, but he did have a couple of moments where you worried about him because he struggled a little bit, and that was because he was overthinking, and that's okay. That is supposed to happen at this point. Another subject I want to talk about, because I want to get off that subject, another subject I want to talk about is one of the quotes I heard him say in an interview where he said that every player is going to be vital and everybody's going to play. We have too many games, and the Premier League is a highly physically demanding league that everybody's going to play. Now, everybody's going to play means that Antony might start the Arsenal game. Now, I hate saying that on this video because you might be watching this video after the Arsenal game, or you already know the lineup because it's already Wednesday where you're at, and you know that Antony's not starting. But I don't know. He might, because Ahmad looked freaking tired, man. Ahmad went down at the end of the game and he was grabbing his hamstring or side of his leg. I don't know what he was grabbing, but it's basically a sign of fatigue. It wasn't a knock. Nobody hit him. It's a sign of fatigue. The kid needs a rest. He works really, really hard in the games, and I love him for it. But Antony might start the game, and that's okay too, because everybody's got to know their role and everybody's got to perform. I support whatever decision Rubin makes, because I think that it's true that he needs to see every single person play a role. But then the beauty of Rubin, and what another thing he said after the game was that looking at Everton's defenders, he liked having Xerxes up front and Rasmus on the bench resting, probably for the Arsenal game, because he said that he felt that the Everton defenders are going to be less comfortable having to track Xerxes back into the midfield where he likes to play. Xerxes doesn't like to run in behind so much. He likes to come back and get involved in the build-up, and he felt that that's going to make the Everton defenders uncomfortable to have to chase him in there, because they like to stick back and play like big men. And that was interesting for me. I loved hearing him say that, right? Like, because it tells me that this man wants a diverse squad. He doesn't want two Rasmus Højlunds, one to play when Rasmus is fresh and then one to come in when Rasmus needs a break. He wants diversity. He wants different types of players in the positions. That's exciting, because that's the way I like to think about football. If you think about Sir Alex Ferguson's teams, we had a lot of diversity. Now, some of you are thinking, well, Tevez, Rooney, same player. Yeah, I'm not saying in every time, in every generation did Sir Alex Ferguson have diversity, but for the most part, he had very, very, very different types of players for the same positions. And it was perfect, because he would make squad selections that you would sit there and go, what the hell is Sir Alex doing? Why is that guy starting? And why is one of my favorite players on the bench? And then the game would play out, we'd win, and then you'd understand that Sir Alex Ferguson sees things that you don't see, and that's what makes him so damn great. I think Rubin Amorim has that kind of tactical brain or tactical mind too, and that he has to, or else he wouldn't have such a perfect record with Sporting. He wouldn't be this young, up-and-coming manager who's already won leagues and who's already beaten big teams in the Champions League. I am very excited, guys. Tell me what you think in the comments down below. Are you with me? Can you feel do you have the same energy that I do, or are you being cautious with your fandom and your excitement? And I totally understand that too, because we've had our heart broken for so many freaking years in a row that obviously this time I'm having a hard time trusting Ineos to do the right kind of recruiting in the transfer windows, because I know that this manager and his coaching staff are probably the right people, the right team to lead us back to the top of the mountain. But if Ineos and the Glazers, for some reason, block it by saying we're not going to spend much money and all we're going to do is buy young players, we have enough young players. I said this in a lot of videos. We have enough young players, and we have a lot of veterans that we're carrying that do not have the physical ability to play the kind of game that this man wants to play, the kind of game that this system demands, and the kind of game that this league demands if you're going to play this kind of system. He does not want to sit back and counter. He wants to possess the ball. He said it countless times in interviews now, where he says we have to use the ball, we have to keep the ball so that we can play a high line. He wants to play a high line because we kept the ball. Anyways, let me know in the comments down below how you feel about it. Next, we're going to talk about the transfer rumors. Now let's talk about some transfer rumors that we're seeing out on X and all over the websites, and discuss them and see how we feel about them. And then I want you guys to let me know in the comments if you've heard of any rumors that I didn't hear of or speak of coming up here. And by the way, if you're still here, if you're still with me, drop a like. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. This is my road to 1,000 subscribers. I'm still very new to this. This is still my first year, and I don't even have 1,000 subscribers yet. So if you watch and if you like what I'm doing, if you like this kind of content, drop a subscription. Drop a subscription. I don't even know how to say it. That's how new I am to this. Go ahead and subscribe, and then you'll watch me evolve and become better at this, hopefully. Thank you. All right, so first thing, I'm just peeking over at my notes here, because I will forget all this stuff that I try to present to you guys if I didn't have a little bit of a notebook here next to me and some notes. So the first thing I want to talk about is Milos Krkić. We all know him. He's the left back from Bournemouth that we've been hearing about for a couple of months now that we're interested in. Now, it's obvious we need a left wing back, because most of the time when we're hearing a transfer rumor, it's Milos Kirkic, it's Alphonso Davies, and there was a new name that I just saw yesterday for the first time, and that is Patrick Dorgu of Lecce. I don't know anything about him. He happens to be a 6'1", big left wing back. So he's a left wing back, but he's also a big body, which I know Rubin Amorim wants physicality, and he's looking for that. But I don't know if the man is fast. I don't know if he's any good. And he's only 20 years old, which I'm going to be honest with you, I don't like that. I don't like that he's only 20 years old. I'd much rather bring in an Alphonso Davies who's been around the block. He is definitely dependable, and he's, ready to go and a great starter. But anyways, let's go back to Milos Kirkic, because I'm not done talking about him. So Milos Kirkic, and there's another team that is interested in him, and I forgot who it was. And I think it's one of our rivals. It's probably Liverpool. Shoot, I wish I can remember. And I will post it on this somewhere on the screen. There it is. See, I should have just done that in the first place. Told you, I'm evolving and learning as we go. So anyway, Milos Kirkic, £40 million is the rumor that Bournemouth values him at. So we're probably going to have to pay £40 million, or maybe we can bring it down to £35 million with $5 million in add-ons. The point is, if you're going to pay that kind of fee, 40, 35 million pounds for a Milos Kirkic, I'm telling you right now, with a free agent Alphonso Davies, you offer him 15 million euros and he signs right in January. He doesn't come in January. He won't come till the summer. But he will sign, I'm sure of it, because Real Madrid's not going to pay him no 15 million euro signing on bonus. That's just not the way they operate. They expect you to want to play for them so much because their name is Real Madrid that you will forgo money to go play with them and put on their nice kit. But Alphonso Davies is an English-speaking player who grew up watching the Premier League in North America like we did, or like I did. Here in North America, he's Canadian. He grew up in the MLS, so I'm sure he has a let's say a passion or a fascination with the Premier League. And I'm sure, of course, he'd want to play for Real Madrid. Everybody wants to play for Real Madrid. But if it comes down to a £15 million signing on bonus, or going to Real Madrid for nothing and just getting your high weekly wage, you might come to us if we want a fighting chance. And we have heard before, and I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, we have heard before that he's interested in seeing what teams are willing to offer for his services. Or else, like, why would you even need an agent? He has an agent who's trying to shop him around and see what a free agent Alphonso Davies is worth. So if we offer him, again, some of you guys might be thinking, no, we don't want that kind of player who's going to take the money. I'm going to be honest with you. Milos Kirkic is coming for the money. He's not coming because he thinks we're better than Liverpool, if Liverpool is the other team that's interested in him. And if it's not, then I already flashed the name of the team that's interested in him. And it's one of our rivals, so I'm pretty sure it was Liverpool. So he's coming for the money. All these players are coming for the money. Maybe this kid Patrick Dorgu would be coming for not the money. But most people are going to be coming for the money, so let's not even talk about that argument. Let's just move on and figure out who's the best player that we can get to come play for us. And for me, that's Alphonso Davies. That's where my money's at, and that's what I want. But I don't know anything about Patrick Dorgu. If you do, leave it in the comments. Let me know. Educate me. And I will try to watch his next game if one of you tells me to. And one of you better actually know what you're talking about. Don't just say, yeah, watch it. I don't want to I watch so much football. The last thing I want to do is watch a Lecce game because I don't really like Lecce. Am I wrong? Let's move on. Next piece of news. We heard today that there's actually been initial concrete talks taking place for Gyökeres. Gyökeres' new agent is, I believe, Jorge Mendes. Jorge Mendes is very much involved with Manchester United. He's always been good to Manchester United, and he's always been good with Ratcliffe and Ineos too. So not only has he already had prior connections with Manchester United, but he's got connections with Ratcliffe and Ineos through some of the business he's done in OGC Nice. So Mendes and United have already had concrete talks about Gyökeres for this upcoming summer. Man City's also had talks. Now, of course, Man City has the sporting director that they took from Sporting, so I forgot his name, Viara, whatever his freaking name is. He's already been working on trying to get Gyökeres too. I just don't understand, if I have two offers on the table, one from United, one from Man City, why would I go to Man City? I'm not going to go to Man City and sit on the bench so I can watch Erling Haaland play while I sit on the bench and go, yay, Erling. No, I'm going to go to Manchester United where my coach, my manager, who used to be at Sporting, who made me the superstar I am, because before that manager, I was only worth $1 million or 10 million euros. Now I'm worth 50 or 60 million euros because of what this manager's done. And once that manager left, and Sporting started losing, Gyökeres has had less attempts on goal and everything else. So this manager knows how to get the best out of Gyökeres. If I was Gyökeres and Manchester United want him, that's where I'm going to choose to go. So let's see how that plays out. I'm not sure Gyökeres is somebody we actually need because we have Xerxes who's starting to look like he might actually have a role in the system. And Rasmus, I think Rasmus is a great, great player. I think Rasmus has the potential to become a Gyökeres-like player, somebody who can put up those kind of numbers. But Gyökeres is like 5 years older than Rasmus, maybe even more. I think he's 27, and I think Rasmus is like 21 or 22. So we still have time with Rasmus. But again, everything I say right now, like if I'm saying a left wing back, Alphonso Davies, that doesn't mean I'm saying Dalot shouldn't play ever. By the way, Dalot, we got some news on Dalot too. Real Madrid's interested. We're going to get to that in just a second. But just because I said Milos Kerkic, Patrick Dorgu, Alphonso Davies, doesn't mean that I want Dalot on the bench or whatever it is. Like I said before in this video, Rubin Amorim have already said that every single player is important with this system and with the physicality of the Premier League and with the amount of games we play every single season. Carabao Cup, FA Cup, Champions League, hopefully if we can make it to the Champions League, and Premier League. We play games every 3 or 4 days. Everybody's going to play. We need good players in every single position, and we need more than one. We need 2 good players in every single position, and then a third in case of injury or something like that. That could be an academy player or an old veteran that's only going to play a handful of games a year. That's what we need. So we need an Alphonso Davies. Alphonso Davies isn't going to come in and play 90 minutes of every single game. No way. That's not happening. If we happen to get an Alphonso Davies, Dalot's still going to get plenty of playing time. Okay? I know there's some Dalot fans out there. They get in my comments. Well, one of them did last video and told me I didn't know football because I complained about Dalot. Dude, calm down. I'm okay with my football knowledge. I'm confident in it. And I won't tell you why, but there's a family history with football. Calm down. Dalot had a bad game. It's okay for me to criticize. And it's okay for me to say the tail end of last season, he was making these kind of mistakes. And guess why? Because he was playing on the left side. He's better on the right side. But anyways, he's a good player, man. I love the guy. He's got everything we want in a Manchester United player. But Real Madrid's interested. And Real Madrid might be willing to offer 50 million euros to pick up Dalot this January. Dalot's been with us for a very long time. I don't believe we are paying down any kind of fee for him anymore. I think he's been with us so long that his complete transfer fee has already been paid. I might be wrong because I don't know all the numbers, but he's been with us for more than 4 years, so he should have all his transfer fee paid. So that could be 100% pure profit, or at least close to it. There's nothing that we owe on Dalot. I don't think there is. So that's a 50 million of pure profit, almost like selling an academy player, I believe. Can we use that to bring down our FFP issues? Because that would go right into the cash in, whereas like 50, okay, let's put it this way. I don't know if you guys remember this from my conversations over the summer, but we also have a lot of new subscribers since then that weren't here when we're having these conversations in the summer. When you get 50 million euros in pure profit in, that means you could buy 5 players worth 50 million euros. How, you might be asking. So when you get 50 million pure profit in, even though the 50 million is going to be paid out, let's say in 5 years, let's say Real Madrid is going to only pay 10 million a year for 5 years, you still can put that on your books as 50 million in today all at once. But then when you go buy a player for 50 million and you're going to pay it out at 10 million a year for 5 years, you only have to put it in as a 10 million expenditure. Okay? Go back to my summer videos. There are some that are actually titled FFP blah, blah, blah. If you see any titles in my old videos that say FFP in it or PSR, go ahead and click on that and watch it, and there's a bigger explanation of what I'm talking about right now. That was the quickest explanation I can give you. So with that said, what do you guys think? Is it something that you think that Ineos is going to consider? Because think about who Ineos is in the first place. Let's take emotion out of it, because I know some of us love Dalot, me included. Let's take emotion out of it and think about what Ineos does with finances, expenses, balance sheets. If they get an offer for 50 million euros, I think if Real Madrid actually put in an offer for 50 million euros and Dalot is on the fence about going or considering going, I think Ineos would actually tell him, like, bye. I really do. I really think they would, because it makes sense, because it's harder to sell someone like Anthony, let's say. It makes sense to, if we have an FFP issue that we need to handle, That's a sale that makes sense. So does Rashford, but only if it's a high offer. I don't know if a Rashford sale, if we would get a high offer for Rashford. Now, then again, but Rashford would also be worth it if we can keep him on and actually get him back to in form doing what he does best, which is scoring goals and making great runs. If he does that consistently day in and day out moving forward, I'm all for keeping Rashford too. So, but I'm just saying for an ownership group that thinks about expense reports, expense sheets, balance sheets, and if we actually have an FFP issue, is this something that you think they're going to consider? And how do you feel about that? Leave it in the comments down below. That's another subject that we really do need to discuss because the January transfer window is right around the corner. It's 1 month away, and this story is talking about making the offer for a January transfer because they need a right back. I know he plays on the left for us, but he's naturally a right back. They need a right back, and they see him being used on the left side incorrectly. And maybe we can take that money and go ahead and buy a left wing back to play on our left side now in January, not have to wait. Okay, next story is Catalonia Radio is putting out the news that Barcelona is willing to let go of Frenkie De Jong on the cheap. Now, I know we're all sick of the Frenkie De Jong saga, but this time we're talking about 20 million euros. They're saying they would let him go for 20 million euros. What do we... Man, okay, look. I was sick of the Frenkie De Jong saga too. I'm pissed that he didn't join when he was supposed to join 2-3 years ago. But can we use someone who can play between the lines? Can we use someone that Manu can learn a hell of a lot from? Now, we're talking about Manu being that kind of player who can receive on the half turn, and spring the play forward, be a conductor in the middle of the field. And do you think Rubin Amorim wants that? Yes. Yes, he does. Don't even go back, listen to old podcasts when they talk about Rubin Amorim, and read different stories. One of Rubin Amorim's favorite players is Sergio Busquets. Can Frenkie De Jong play a little bit more like Sergio Busquets than anybody else we have in our squad presently? Yes. Yes, he can definitely sit back and conduct. He can conduct the team, move the play forward, basically let the team know when to slow down the tempo, let the team know when to speed up the tempo, let the team know when to spring forward and press. He is a very, very high football intelligence player. You want to talk about Mazraoui and how much you love him? I know you might be sick and tired of hearing about Frenkie De Jong, but if Frenkie De Jong came in and he stayed healthy, that's a key. If he was healthy enough to play in 50% of our games, he doesn't have to play the cup games. That's what Manu could be playing to learn to get his minutes in. Doesn't have to play the cup games and stuff like that. But if you can play in our important games for 20 million euros, that is one hell of a player. That is one hell of a... You'll never get a player like that for 20 million euros. Not a player like that. As long as he's... Like I said, as long as he's healthy and as long as he can play in the games. Am I talking out of my ass here, man? Or you guys agree with me? Leave it in the comments. I know some of you guys are going to be sick and tired of hearing that name, Frenkie De Jong. You never want to hear that name again. And I totally get it. But it's 20 million euros. And he's class. The man is class. If he can stay healthy, he is class. Again, how many of us love having a Mazraoui in the squad because of the way he touches the ball, because of the way he thinks about football, because of how great he is compared to the rest of our players when it comes to technical ability? Frenkie De Jong is that and then some, guys. Guys, thank you very much for joining me. Like I said before, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I hope we are still undefeated after the Arsenal game, guys. And I'm going to try to make a video on Thursday night to post on Friday, even though I'm also going to make a video on Saturday night after the Saturday game. I'm going to try to make those two videos. If I don't get to it, don't blame me for it. I will make a video on Saturday after the game. I just might get home really late from work on Thursday and not get to make a video. And it's silly to make a video on Friday and another one on Saturday. Guys, thank you so much. Let me know what you thought of the intro. Is it too much? And if you don't like it, let me know and I'll stop doing intros like I did on this video. Thanks again for joining me, guys. Peace.